Yeah, thanks for bringing me back again.
Oh, no, it's fantastic. I was at the Perth show last time, and you looked like you'd injured your hand.
Oh, yeah. What happened? I shook this guy's hand in Spain.
Yeah.
He was in the audience, and he told me he was a Wing Chun master.
Hmm.
And so I shook this guy's hand, and the next minute I know he's ready to start a martial arts movement with me in the club.
Oh, wow.
So he kind of grabbed my hand really aggressively and kind of dislocated my knuckle.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so
Yeah.
it was affecting my playing for it's a lot better now.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's a crazy thing. I just noticed it because you said, "I'll come and say hi," and like when I saw you on stage, I thought, "Oh, wow, I don't want to interrupt you after the show. It looks like you've done something there. Didn't affect you playing."
Uh, thank you. Thank you.
That's okay. It's great that you're coming back so soon. I mean, I must admit I never miss a show, but this year it's interesting because it's the 50th anniversary of Natty Dread.
Yes, isn't that amazing?
It,
50 years
it's
of
incredible.
playing
Yeah,
all these songs.
yeah. So I wanted to sort of see if we could cast your mind back to those days, and because it was the first album there that you played on, and sort of revisit some of your memories, especially of recording it.
Yeah, well, like I always say, I was with a good friend,
Mm,
Paul Kossoff from Free.
mm,
He was the lead guitarist for Free, and they had a big hit song, All Right Now. And I got to meet Chris Wood and Jim Capaldi, Traffic,
yeah.
and they were touring together. And I was at Fillmore East, and I met these guys, and they said, "Hey, man, you got to come over to England. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of recording studios, a lot of songwriting, and there's a big musician songwriting band organizing movement going on in the early 70s
Mm,
because that's when pop rock and reggae was exploding and punk music, the Clash and all that, and Paul Weller. So there were so many things going on that it seemed as though England was the place. And because I thought New York had it all,
yeah.
but then I realized that New York didn't have it all. What New York did have was jazz and blues and some rock. But there was other things that of interest, like other musics, like salsa, merengue, like Latin music, and Afrobeat music, like Fela
Mm,
and stuff. So, and it was in England. So I said, you know what? The guys from Maynard Ferguson invited me over and said, hey, man, we'll put you to work. And we had Chris Wood from Traffic, the saxophone player. And then we had Koss. Said,
mm,
hey, come on over. So I said, maybe I'll go over to England and give it a try there because I wasn't getting a lot of work in New York. It was guys like Hiram Bullock and Will Lee and
yeah.
all these
How it's stitched up. Yeah.
Mike Stern, all these really crazy guitar players and bass players and arrangers were giving all the super guys all the work. So England seemed like it could be a lot easier to go and get into a crowd of session musicians and possibly try to make something happen. So I did. I went over to England. I was staying with Woody for a while.
Yeah.
Um, he was taking care of me, and Martin Drover
Yeah.
and Bud Clark, these guys from Maynard Ferguson's jazz group. They looked after me. I lived in Rains Park, right near the Wimbledon
Yeah.
tennis tournament area. And I used to go over to Costa's house in Ladbroke Grove because I first started with Richard Branson, who
Yeah.
was great. He was great. He had an early success with Tubular Bells. Michael Oldfield was a really big, one of the biggest artists on the label. And I happened to be with Delroy Washington, who was just signed, who had a really cool record, I Sus. And the backing band was Oswald and myself.
yeah,
So that's where I started with a number one there. And then Delroy didn't want to record anymore. And um, Oswald, the backing band, decided that they were going to break off and have their own career as well. So I got left to, sniffing around to other places like Island Records to see if I could get some work. And I became like a tape op who cleans
yeah,
the console and pours tea and rolls some joints and makes sandwiches for all the artists that are doing recordings at Island. And I was getting something like 150 pounds a week like this, and it was taking care of my rent and the little I had. And so Paul Costa would invite me over to his house to have a jar, a smoke, and then play all his fabulous collections of amplifiers and guitars. And guys like Mitch Mitchell would be coming through. Um, all the guys in Free, Whitesnake, you name it. Just the greatest musicians in the area. The Clash lived right down the road. I
yeah.
saw them every other day in the market. So it was really great living in Ladbroke Grove and hanging out with Cuss. And one day, Cos introduced me to Catch a Fire and Burning because I was not familiar with the Wailers music at all. I knew about guys like Alton Ellis, Dennis Brown,
No, yeah.
especially Jimmy Cliff from The Harder They Come, but
Mm,
not Bob. They were kind of like they were on the pirate stations, the underground stations that blasted them during the weekends. So I wasn't listening to the pirate stations at that time
mm,
because I was more involved with pop rock music. And then through Cuss, he introduced me to Catch a Fire and Burning, which was my introduction to Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, and Bunny Wailer. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then I heard Wayne Perkins, the lead guitar player from Bobby Womack, who was a session guy from Nashville.
mm,
He played on, the earlier material. And I'm going like, wow, this guy's really playing at a high level on reggae music. He's a super loud guitar, slide guitar, just flat picking on an electric, really crazy stuff on Rocket Baby, playing slide and stuff. So I was like, this is really cool. So I had no idea that I would eventually meet the three of them through Paul Kossoff, a rock guitar player, hard rock guitar player. And what happened, I'm sitting down like we're sitting here talking, and the phone rings, and it's Chris Blackwell, the CEO of Island Records, wanting Paul to come to do an overdub on Bob Marley's solo record, Natty Dread. And Paul said, I'm not really in the mood. I drank too much and, I smoked too much. There's an American guitar player. This young kid is here and he's my friend and he can sub for me. And so Chris said, who is he? He says, this kid named Al. He says, oh, I think I know him. I think he's working at Island doing tape op, learning, the board, learning how to become an engineer is what I really wanted.
yeah,
And so they sent me a mini cab from Paul's house, his flat down to Island Records, and that's where I met Bob Marley for the first time, along with Chris the second time.
yeah.
And they were just sitting there, and he said, "Well, he says we've got 6, 7 tracks. We want you to overdub." And I says, well, "What do you feel and what do you hear?" Because I had no idea of what I was going to hear in the headphones in the can,
Mm,
but it was similar to Catch a Fire and Burn It, which I just had the opportunity to hear maybe an hour before. That was my introduction to the Wailers sound. So I was like, okay, I kind of remember some of it, but hardly remember any of it because you were on the spot to do a session. And the new music was Natty Dread. So they gave me Revolution, Soja Say, Roadblock, No Woman, No Cry. And they were freaking out. They were like, yo, this is it. This is what we wanted to hear from you. Because when I first started the session, I was playing more progressive hard rock guitar. But I was like, nah, that's not it. And so I said, well, let me hear some of the music. So I heard more of the music in the can so I could be more familiar of the direction that Bob wanted to go is go in to produce the guitar that he wanted to hear. And so I heard No Woman, No Cry, and I was like, I know where this is going. I'll play some country guitar on here. And as soon as I played the first take I did, he says, "Oh, that's too perfect." Because when I heard it, I was like, I didn't know the song at all. I was just trying to, like, ice skating for the first time, just making sure I wasn't going to fall down in the track. And so then I started gliding into the refrain. And then he said, "Oh, that's great. Can you do it again?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know if I can play that again because I don't really know what I played." He said, "Well, we'll play everything when we finish." So he gave me one more shot. And that was the one that's on
Wow.
Natty Dread album, No Woman, the second version of No Woman No Cry. He just loved it. He came in and said, "Man, this is it. Keep going. I really like the direction you're going in." So I did like six, seven songs, something like that.
Yeah.
And that was my first introduction to his songwriting and how um, where he wanted guitar, where it wasn't conflicting with his vocal line. So he had the verse and the guitar stayed away. So when he wasn't singing, I could say something and do something. And then when he sang, I would play fills.
Yeah.
And so that was my first introduction to working with Bob. And then
That's yeah.
it
That's
went
an
on and on.
incredible story, and I guess in a way, just being plunged into it like that must have been no time to get nervous.
Yeah, let me tell you, sometimes it's better that way.
Yeah.
You know, you're just jumping into real cold water, not knowing that, how you might like it.
Yeah. Is it cool?
As
It's definitely one of my favorite Marley albums, and I did notice this year as well that with Family Man dying earlier in the year, you the only guy apart from I think the guys who play keys. I think Bernard Harvey's still around.
Oh yeah, he's still around, and wow, there's not a lot of Wailers
Yeah, there's
that
not. So
that
it's
played and toured with Bob left. So
uh, yeah, no, absolutely not. So it's wonderful that you're coming over and seeing us as well. Again, it's great to have you back. What any surprises this time around in the set list? Are you going to be mixing things up? Are you going to be playing a few more songs from Natty
you know,
Dread?
we're gonna not really, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to take some of the older songs
Yeah,
and some of Peter's songs and some of Bunny's and Bob's songs and make a mix of them
mm,
and not just play them note for note, like improvise and jam
yeah,
on jamming and stuff. And our bass player takes a really crazy bass solo, which never was part of the repertoire.
yeah.
So we basically improvise on the catalog and play the songs that we produce and write in our own right.
Mm. Because yeah, there's been some wonderful new music from you as well. Any more on the way? Last time we spoke, obviously I think the not the album, but the single. There was a new single out. What?
There was Song of the Divine, which we recorded, and we had the opportunity to go to Bali, where the Balinese Buddhist community invited us to come and be a part of their ceremony where they blessed us. They took us into the hills in Bali, and the elders and the spiritual leaders blessed us with holy water and flowers and coconut water and just constant blessings for the whole day that we were recording. And it came out so well. So the name of the of our new album, To Be, is Mirror of Heaven. And Song of the Divine represents pretty much that statement because it's a spiritual song. And we were able to capture a Buddhist community, and they showed us love, man. Like it was almost like being in Jamaica with the Rastafarian
Yeah,
philosophy. They treated us so well that the music and everything that came together with being in Bali and videoing that Song of the Divine. just made it such a wonderful thing for us to have completed. And then we released Si Tu Me Lo Das. Si Tu Me Lo Das was written by Chet Samuel and arranged by myself and Chet. We decided that, we had something spiritual. So he's a man that's surrounded by a family of love. So he wrote Si Tu Me Lo Das, which is a serenade, more of a love song in Espanol. And so that was the second release. But we gave it to a distributor that didn't do anything for the song.
Yeah.
So we are repackaging everything for the distribution of Mirror of Heaven when that time comes. So you're going to get it all at once and then let some singles go so that the inquiring minds that are interested in what we do and how we perform and record can hear where the direction we're going is. Like see two melodies, and the first was uh, um, getting brain freeze here. Song of the Divine,
Yeah.
and the third song is going to be Pierda por Pierda. What does that mean? It means brick by brick, stone by stone, we will build the world we created, back together. And so that'll be our third single, which is going to be in Espanol. So
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
Song of the Divine, Si Tu Me Lo Das, Pierda por Pierda. And then there's going to be six more studio tracks that we're working on right now. Hopefully, we'll be able to get to you in the new year.
Oh, cool. So who's it's the band playing on all the tracks? Any guests in there or?
Yeah, there's a three-time Grammy awarded keyboardist from Jamaica, Stephen Stewart, who worked with Spear
Mm,
and he's won a few Grammys. This guy's a very good engineer. He's a great player. So it's a joy to work with him. And Earl Chinna Smith is another
yeah,
all-time greatest, the greatest, one of the greatest session guitar players outside of Ernest Ranglin and Lynn Tate and all these guys,
yeah.
all these fabulous musicians, and possibly Cat Core,
Oh, cool.
yeah, from Third World,
Yeah.
one of my old friends.
Yes, that's fantastic. Did you get to spend much more time in Bali when you were there? It's a beautiful place of the world, just on our
We did,
doorstep. Yeah,
we did, and we saw the beaches. We witnessed the national people. We witnessed all the tourists, and it
yeah,
was Zen Central.
yeah,
I felt at home.
yeah,
I could have stayed. I could have stayed there till now. The food was great. They don't have much problems with shark attacks because I like the water.
yeah,
I like to be around surfers and all that, although I don't surf, but I love the water. So there's no like, they got a lot of bugs and some snakes and stuff and scorpions, but they know how to live with it. And so we were kind of living on the outsides of the city in a really nice hotel where it was like individual huts
yeah, yeah,
they put us in. And it was really wonderful. I'm looking forward to going back
yeah.
as I am looking forward to coming and seeing your
Well,
part of the
we're
world.
we're
Well,
certainly looking forward to seeing you as well. We're doing a bit.
where do you live?
We're in Perth, so right on the west coast. So we've
Sydney, Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, all that to me is like New Zealand, Aotearoa, all it's just God's country, man.
yeah, it's
You
beautiful
guys are
place to
really,
live.
you're really spoiled, man. Because
Yeah.
when I compare a lot of rest of the world to how you people live down in that area, I'm really impressed.
Yeah, it's a great place in the world to live, and wonderful that you come and visit us so frequently as well. That's great. We're doing a bit of a series at the minute, just getting some perspectives on albums that everyone should hear. And there were so many things we didn't get to talk about last time, but well, I'm glad we got to talk about Natty Dread today. But
Mhm. Yeah.
what are two albums that you think everyone should listen to?
From the Wailers or from the whole genre?
From anywhere, like from pop, rock, reggae.
Wow. I think. first and foremost, there's a group called Herbs
Mm,
that was very popular in your part of the world. That was the beginning of reggae for New Zealand and Australia.
mm,
So those guys, when we first came down, they all came out and treated us like just very kindly to let us know that they got the message. So I'd say Herbs, um, my favorite groups like the Wailers, Soul Rebel,
yeah, yeah.
one that Scratch did. Um, wow, Matumbi,
Okay, yeah,
people.
yeah. We mentioned them before, and I checked them out. Fantastic. So I
They're
my mind
really
to two
super.
things.
Yeah, they're really super. And like early Steel Pulse, Tribute to the
Yeah,
Martyrs,
yeah,
you know, Chapter of Dub with Oswald and Dennis Brown and all that.
yeah.
And Jacob Miller. These were the guys I spent a lot of time with because Robbie and Sly,
Mm,
I toured with them for nearly 3 years and did a lot of recording with them. And when I got to be a part of working with Peter and Word, Sound, and Power, I realized that Robbie and Sly has done thousands of sessions. And there's an album that was done by a flautist from the States. And his name's going to come to me. But the name of the album is Negril. Are you
mm.
familiar with that
I'm
record?
not, no, but I will be soon because I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, you're going to be amazed on the talent from Jamaica that was able to play like it was a very progressive reggae, not jazz,
Yeah.
but reggae done with an American composer. For some reason, my mind is not serving me well, so I don't know the name of the flautist,
Mm,
but the name of the album is Negril, and all the greatest session players from Wrangling and everybody's on that record. So
yeah.
that's one of the all-time greatest progressive records that
I'm
I
going
have.
to put that up there for people to check out. With
Yeah.
with Natty Dread coming out, one of I mean, in this part of the world, and also I think in the UK and places like that, the definitive version of No Woman No Cry was the live version, which you played on as well. We're going to play that today on our radio show. I just wondered if you'd be able to introduce that to us, and then I've got one more request for you.
Oh. I'm Al Anderson of Bob Marley and the Wailers, formerly of, and you're going to be listening to live version at Lyceum, No Woman No Cry.
That's fantastic, Al. We are 15 years old this month, so we've been talking about music with people for the last 15 years, and we're putting together a video of everyone wishing us happy birthday. So I don't know if I could ask one final thing, if you could just wish the Rock Pit a happy 15th birthday.
Greetings, everyone. It's Al Anderson of the original Wailers. Blessings and happy birthday to the Rock Pit. All the best for all the energies you've given all the artists through all these 15 years. We gratefully appreciate your kindness by showing how we live in this music world and how it looks from the desk to the tour to the studio. Thank you so much for giving all our fans and our friends and inquiring minds exactly what it takes to get music into the homes of the ones that we love and that love what we do.
That's so brilliant. Thank you so much, Al. I'm going to cherish that message. It's always an absolute pleasure to speak to you. I always get so much. I feel so positive. I'm going to go into my day now. It's 6 a.m. here. I'm going to go into
Okay.
my day now, and I know that I'm going to have a fantastic day because I just spoke to Al Anderson.
Oh, thank you for your kind words. That's very
Um,
kind.
and hopefully I'll catch up with you soon when you hit Perth.
Please, please come and say hello. I got some nice merch for you that you might be interested in a cool hat we're
Cool.
producing. Uh, thank you for
I'll
your
see you
time.
then. Safe
Bless.
trip, my friend.
Oh, thank you. All the best to you.
Thanks, Al. Bye.